Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 22nd meeting of the Brighton Town Board. That's April 22nd, 2026. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and I am calling this meeting to order. Please rise if you are physically able to do so, or rise in spirit. We'll start with a pledge to the flag. I'll ask Councilmember Salzman to lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. In just a couple minutes, we'll be starting the open forum portion of our meeting. The open forum is that portion of the meeting at every town board meeting where members of the public can share their comments with the town board. Whether you're here in person or remotely, if you are remote, we will give you instructions on how to log in, but they are available on the town's webpage, www.brightonny.gov. As has been the case for many years now, all of our town board meetings are accessible to the deaf and hard of hearing community thanks to our ASL interpreters. Tonight, those interpreters are Samantha Geffen and Alyssa Suplee. Thank you both for being here and for making our meetings accessible to the community. The agenda for tonight's meeting and all of the supporting materials that we will be using in making our decisions tonight are available on the town webpage. They are also available outside the door here. We have 4 proclamations tonight. And for the first one, I'll ask a very familiar face, Town Clerk Dan Amon, to join me.
Batting lead off.
May 3rd through May 9th is Municipal Clerks Week, and we recognize it in the town of Brighton, but those of us that are here at Town Hall every day, we live it, not just for a week, all year round. Dan Amon, our town clerk, and Dan's office serves as a go-to stop for so many residents with questions or who need a range of town services. Dan and his team are always there to answer questions, to make those connections, to make sure the things that our residents need are getting done. We really appreciate that. And so this Municipal Clerks Week is a great opportunity to recognize you for your service. And I will read that proclamation. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk is a time-honored and vital part of local government that exists throughout the world. Whereas in Brighton, the office of the town clerk provides the professional link between citizens, local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. Whereas municipal clerks pledge to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all and supporting the proper administration of democracy. And whereas, in honor of this special week, we're pleased to highlight the excellent work of the Town of Brighton's Town Clerk's Office and to pay tribute to our very own town clerk, Daniel Amon, whose dedication in providing quality services, modernizing records management, and supporting the work of this town council makes him a vital partner and a worthy colleague in Town Hall. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and the members of the Brighton Town Council do hereby proclaim May 3rd through 9th, 2026 as Municipal Clerks Week in the town of Brighton, and we proudly recognize Daniel Amon, Town Clerk and Receiver of Taxes, for his contributions to the smooth functioning of town government. And this proclamation is presented today, this 22nd day, and signed this 22nd day of April, 2026. We'll have to wait for a week to really celebrate it, but Dan, thank you very much. say?
Sure. It just builds the suspense, right? So it'll be even better when it gets here. Well, just thanks to Bill and the board for this. I know it kind of, it's a thing that happens every year, and I'm always happy to stand here. And really, again, it's credit to the staff because I spend a lot of time at the counter, but they're there even more. So Sandy, Laura, Angie, Casey, Kathy, and Peggy. This is really this award. This feels like the Oscars. Like this award goes out to you. But it's really it's a pleasure to do this. I mean, my job is talking to our residents. That's my job for a living, right? Just before I got down here late, because I was on the phone with a resident, and I finally had Rena, I gotta cut you off. I gotta go. I have 1 minute to get down to the board meeting. It's a great gig. Happy to do it, and I'm lucky that the people of Brighton have chosen me a number of times now to do this. So, thanks everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Next, I'm going to invite Todd Kinder from the Brighton Chamber of Commerce to join me.
Howdy, sir.
How are you?
Good.
Great to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
This next proclamation recognizes Small Business Week in the town of Brighton. The SBA is the organizer of Small Business Week across the country, but it's especially fitting here in Brighton because Brighton is a community based on neighborhoods and based on neighborhood businesses. Neighborhood scale small businesses, you see them as you drive down Monroe Avenue, you see them as you drive down West Henrietta Road. The whole range of businesses, from restaurants to hardware stores, record stores, yes, they still have record stores, and we've got a great one here in Brighton, to bakeries, and so much more. Professional services, all different kinds of small businesses. Brighton has it all. And at a lot of those small businesses, you find gems that you're not going to find at a big box store. And obviously the services, the personal attention you get, whether it is at a personal service or a professional business, is very different than you would have at a big box. It's just a different way of doing business. Now, the Brighton Chamber of Commerce represents many of those small businesses, and tonight we have Todd Kinder, the Vice President of the Brighton Chamber of Commerce, to accept this proclamation, and I'm going to read it first. They even gave me a cheat sheet.
Hey.
But I serve as a ex officio member of the board and am myself a former past president when my small business was located in the town of Brighton. So yes, I do recognize you, Todd, and it's been great working with you. Whereas more than half of working Americans either own or are employed by a small business, while in New York State, small businesses comprise 98% of all businesses and are responsible for more than 40% of private sector employment. And whereas every day, new and growing small businesses create 21st century jobs, drive innovation, and inspire future entrepreneurs. And whereas as part of National Small Business Week, the town of Brighton celebrates our local small businesses and applauds the jobs they create, the boost they give our economy and our neighborhoods, and the entrepreneurial spirit they represent. Tonight, we honor the Brighton Chamber of Commerce, an organization dedicated to preserving a competitive and responsible free enterprise system and promoting programs to the benefit of the entire community. The Chamber is not, obviously small business is an important part of the Chamber, but it is a community-based organization, and I think it's important that we acknowledge that. Whereas we thank the Brighton Chamber of Commerce, its members and leaders, all of whom play an integral role in the business and professional life of Brighton and are major supporters of the small business development and growth we see in Brighton. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and the members of the Brighton Town Council do hereby recognize the importance of small businesses and the Brighton Chamber of Commerce. We proclaim May 3rd through 9 as National Small Business Week in the town of Brighton, and we remind the residents of our community to support small businesses throughout the year. And this proclamation is signed the 22nd day of April, 2026. Again, we'll wait a week or so to celebrate, but thank you for being here, Todd.
Thank you, sir.
Somehow I switched to video.
I'll do a dance for you.
I was just going to say, we could do that song and dance.
Got it.
Great. Todd, you want to?
Well, I wasn't prepared to speak tonight, and Bill knows I can go on and on and on. We are, pardon me, we are small business, and Brighton is made up of mostly small business. You travel down the corridor, and we have a vibrant Main Street corridor called Monroe Avenue. Small business, though, isn't just your Arbs Market, your Bop Shop Records. It's also those stores like where I work, Ethan Allen, which is a locally owned and operated business. They may have a big box name, but they are a franchise. They are family owned, and they are supporting and happy to be part of the community. As the vice president, my goal for the next 2 years is to bring the community to the chamber and the chamber more into the community. I invite anybody to come to any of our chamber events. BrightonChamber.org, we want to have you here. We want to hear your voice. And I've worked all day, so I'm tired. So thank you.
Okay, we're halfway home. Our next proclamation tonight recognizes Arbor Day, and I would like to bring George Smith up. George, how are you? Good. Arbor Day falls on April 24th this year, so we're not going to have to wait 2 weeks, just 2 days to celebrate. Now, the town of Brighton has the most comprehensive tree law of any community in Monroe County. Town trees cannot be cut down without a review process, and that includes the Conservation Board, which serves as our tree council, and in many cases, final approval from the town board. Replacement trees are planted when trees are cut down, and following a joint meeting that the town board and the Conservation Board had earlier this year, future tree removals will be conditioned on a 1.5 to 1 tree removal ratio. So we have been building up. This will help us build our tree canopy and maintain our tree canopy even faster. Now, under our tree law, there are serious penalties for anyone removing a tree illegally in violation of the town law. A town tree, those are trees typically in the rights of way or in our town parks. Now, thanks in very large part to George Smith, who's here with me, the town now has its own tree nursery, which is the stockade fence area out by the Brighton Winter Market barn. Inside the secret garden, right, are a number of different species of trees that we are growing, and over time we will be able to use those trees as they mature. Obviously, when they were this tall, they were a lot cheaper, and they will be part of the tree acquisition that we will use to replace those trees as we cut them down. It's a great idea. And most recently, again, with George's leadership, the Conservation Board, our tree council, is establishing a tree ambassador program. Under that program, volunteers will be trained, and those trained volunteers will prune and take other actions to make sure that those newly planted trees survive, and more than survive, that they thrive. The tree lawn isn't always an easy place for a tree to grow, whether it's salt, whether it's just the passing of traffic of all kinds. So having those tree ambassadors will be one more way that we ensure a full and lush tree canopy in Brighton. So let me read this proclamation. Another cheat sheet. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton of the Nebraska Board of Agriculture launched the first Arbor Day and added more than 1 million trees to the prairie landscape. Whereas this tradition has spread across the nation and the world, underscoring the importance of trees in our ecosystem and inspiring people to plant and care for them in the midst of a deforestation crisis in many places. And whereas trees contribute significantly to reducing carbon levels and soil erosion, filtering water for cleaner streams and rivers, providing habitat for wildlife, producing oxygen, and providing a renewable resource for paper, fuel, and other wood products. Whereas the Town of Brighton's Volunteer Tree Council, the Conservation Board, have established a town-managed tree nursery so the town may depend on locally sourced native trees for our parks and along our streets. And this year, they're launching our Tree Ambassador program, training volunteers to care for newly planted town trees, all with the goal, the twin goals, really, of educating the public and lowering the cost of growing and maintaining our tree canopy. Whereas Brighton's Arbor Day celebration will be held this Saturday, April 25th, from 9 to 11 at the Tree Nursery next to the Community Garden in Buckland Park, continuing Brighton's deep commitment to environmentalism and sustainability. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and the members of the Brighton Town Council do hereby recognize April 25th, 2026 as Arbor Day. We celebrate our 24th year as a Tree City, USA, and ask our residents to plant a tree this spring or join us at the new Tree Nursery on Saturday morning for a healthier, cleaner tomorrow. And this proclamation is also signed this 22nd day of April by myself and by the members of the Brighton Town Board. Thank you, George. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Maley, and thank you, council members. I'd like to accept this on behalf of the many community members who have helped with Arbor Day and other tree-related activities over the years. It's been calculated that a large tree will produce millions of seeds over its lifetime. If it replaces itself once, it has beaten 1 in a million odds. This is where people come in. We can cut down and remove trees, but we can also plant and help nurture trees. Planting trees is a very positive, very local, and very forward-looking activity, very community-minded activity. So thank you for your support and your help over the years.
And finally, today, April 22nd, is Earth Day. Earth Day began in 1970. A lot of years on Earth Day, you'll see me wear an old Earth Day pin that I got in Ann Arbor, Michigan, that first Earth Day year. With the Greek letter, I believe that's theta. I was not a fraternity guy. But that became the symbol of Earth Day, and I wasn't able to get it on my lapel today. But again, Earth Day began in 1970. This year, the theme of Earth Day is Our Power, Our Planet. And since 1970, Earth Day has been an opportunity to advocate on behalf of the Earth and to take action to protect the Earth and the environment. As we do each year, the Town Board is adopting this resolution in observance of Earth Day 2026, today, April 22nd, 2026. And I'll read it. On this day in 1970, 20 million Americans gathered to protest environmental ignorance and demand a new way forward for our planet. Whereas the activism on what became known as the first Earth Day sparked the passage of the United States Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, and Endangered Species Act, plus the creation of the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. Or whereas the theme of this year's Earth Day is, quote, "Our Power, Our Planet," affirming that environmental progress is real, resilient, and ongoing, despite policy uncertainty, the gutting of federal environmental laws, and the continued spread of baseless claims against the science that proves the planet Earth is undergoing climate change. Whereas the town of Brighton is deeply committed to a healthy environment and pledges to continue implementing our climate action plan, expanding our trail system for alternative modes of transportation, integrating renewable energies like geothermal heating and cooling and solar-generated electricity to town buildings, and organizing residents to enrich and protect our natural environs. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and the members of our Town Council do hereby declare today to be Earth Day in the town of Brighton, and ask that each of us embrace the power of our community, joining more than 1 billion people in 192 countries around the world who will participate in Earth Day activities to help create a healthier planet. And this proclamation is also signed the 22nd day of October by myself and by the town board. Okay. We will now begin our open forum, which we hold again at the beginning of every town board meeting. The open forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board concerning any matter relating to the town, whether or not it's an item on our agenda tonight. Once I finish these instructions, if you're here in the room and would like to speak during the open forum, please raise your hand. When I call on you, please come up to the podium to speak. Now, if you're participating in the meeting remotely and you wish to speak during the open forum, you must first join the meeting on Teams. And as I mentioned before, there are detailed instructions for doing that on the town's webpage. If you would like to speak during the open forum remotely, use the raised hand function. You'll be unmuted by the host and you'll be able to speak. Now, I ask all speakers during the open forum, whether you're here in person or remotely, to please state your name and address before speaking. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes, and I will give a 30-second warning before we get to the end of that time. We would ask that you not engage in outbursts, clapping, booing, and the like. I don't see anybody with signs, so we don't have to worry about signs. But I do ask that you follow those rules, and we will be able to complete the open forum without having to, ask speakers to finish or hold the open forum altogether. So is there anyone here that would like to speak during the open forum tonight? Please raise your hand. Well, go ahead, Serge. All right.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is John Osowski, 196 Mayflower Drive. I was a member of the planning board for the town of Brighton for 14 years until the spring of 2025. I want to speak specifically about the environmental review process for the Town Hall site work project, or more precisely, the apparent absence of one. Under New York State Environmental Quality Review, SEQR, projects are classified by type. A Type 2 action is essentially maintenance or replacement in kind. It is exempt from environmental review because the presumption is that it has no significant environmental impact. This project was classified as Type 2 on July 24, 2024, before the schematic design was even completed. At that point, no one had seen a plan showing a 27,000 square foot increase in pavement, the removal of mature trees, or the reconfiguration of county-permitted curb cuts on Elmwood Avenue. A project that increases impervious surface by 13% over current, removes significant trees, and requires Monroe County DOT permitting for curb cut changes is not maintenance in kind. It is a substantial physical alteration of a public site. The town claims to have completed a follow-up review as an unlisted action and completed parts 1, 2, and 3 of a short environmental assessment form and issued a negative declaration, meaning there was no significant environmental impact. But that review was conducted by town staff without independent review and without public input. Seeker is not a rubber stamp. It is a process designed to ensure transparency and examine alternatives. There is no evidence that the second review was coordinated with the two involved public agencies, Monroe County and the New York State DEC. No alternatives were examined. The Planning Board submitted an alternative site plan in October 2024 that achieves the same functional goals with less pavement and no tree removals. It was never formally considered in the seeker record. Furthermore, although the town is an MS4, a municipal separate storm sewer system, they are prohibited from reviewing and approving their own stormwater pollution prevention plan, otherwise known as SWIP. That review must be done by the DEC, making them an involved agency under the seeker. There is also a segmentation problem. This project is being designed and bid in 3 separate phases. Phase 2 is the site plan. Phase 3 is the recreational improvements. The stormwater and impervious surface impacts of Phase 3 cannot be meaningfully assessed without Phase 2 in the record. The only potential justification for the increase in parking is the proposed splash pad. The splash pad size, number of users, water volume have not been designed yet, so there is no way for the town to assess the parking needed.
Time. Thank you, John. And you can submit your remarks if you would like.
Thank you, I'll do that.
Thank you.
I could have used 1 more minute.
Go ahead.
My name's Lauren Macy. I live at 56 Oak Lane. I was appointed to the Planning Board earlier this past year and recently became aware of the town's plans for Phase 2 parking at Town Hall. As a mother, these plans do not make sense for families with small children. They require pedestrians to take indirect routes with small children crossing multiple areas of the parking lot just to reach the library. It's easy to see that these plans are prioritizing cars over people. Strong concerns have been raised at the town, and the town continues to move forward. At a recent Public Safety Committee meeting, several of us shared concerns and alternative ideas, only to have them dismissed. It's concerning that when asked, no parking study has been conducted in the planning process for Phase 2. The town's primary justification has been the need for additional parking due to a proposed splash pad behind Town Hall. But recently, the town claims there will be public input on Phase 3, which would decide if the splash pad should be built behind Town Hall or at Buckland Park possibly. So there's a chance that we are creating parking for a splash pad that may not even be at Town Hall. How can we responsibly determine the appropriate amount of parking spaces in Phase 2 without a plan for Phase 3? Another major concern is that the proposed parking lot would require removing a number of mature, healthy trees. I am concerned we're underestimating how valuable these are. They provide shade for families, they reduce noise for the nearby homes, they improve air quality, and they add so much character to our town. Brighton proudly calls itself Tree City, USA, and this proposal seems inconsistent with that identity. Removing 8 mature trees for parking without a clear need or official parking study raises real questions about how we're balancing parking needs with the environmental values our community cares so much about. The town's own response says new trees will be replaced at 1.5 per 1 tree removed, but you cannot replace mature trees. I wish there had been more collaboration with the Planning Board and the Conservation Board to develop a plan that better preserves these trees, prioritizes the pedestrian safety and walkability, and reflects the values of our community laid out in our own comprehensive plan and sustainability plan, as well as Bike Walk Brighton. As a member of the Planning Board, I strongly urge the town to pause this process while we explore alternative solutions to our parking challenges. We should first gather the public input and then develop a clear vision for Phase 3 before fully executing this Phase 2. I understand the importance of moving town offices back to Town Hall. However, rather than completing all the parking at once, we could begin by adding only the essential parking needed to support that move. Additional parking could then be planned and implemented later with careful consideration given to safety, traffic flow, and tree preservation measures. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And again, if you'd like, you can submit your comments to the town clerk for the record. Serge?
Thank you. My name is Serge Swassman. I live at 110 Oak Lane. Dear town board members, I joined the planning board in February 2025 following a vetting process where I clearly stated my aspirations for Brighton, increasing the density of 12 corners and contributing to the design of vital public spaces, including the town hall site. I took this role with genuine desire to serve our community's future. Shortly after joining, I was disappointed to find that the plans for the town hall renovation are moving forward without input from the planning board or the public. My attempts to engage have revealed a process marked by a lack of transparency and at times professional hostility. Information and input were blocked when the supervisor chose not to share relevant correspondence with the town board for 6 months. When this was addressed at a public works meeting, it was met with what I consider professional hostility from the supervisor. As a new member, I was the recipient of a message from the town attorney relaying that fellow planning board members were discouraged from attending meetings, a clear tactic to stall debate and push the project through. I have spent numerous hours engaging with staff and professionals to gain a full perspective. The findings are troubling. Several staff members admit that this process is not ideal, but they have abandoned their principles in fear of stepping out of line, often citing their motto that this is not a hill to die on. Professional designers I consulted expressed serious concerns regarding a lack of pedestrian safety in favor of unsupported parking and transportation plans. I spoke with the library staff and learned that there are strong concerns regarding public safety. Subsequent attempts by the library's executive director to engage with the town board and staff on these issues were ignored. As a member of the planning board and a lifelong resident, I find this process disingenuous. Brighton is a progressive town, but a plan designed solely to satisfy staff needs, treating the pool, playground, and public safety as afterthoughts, does not represent our constituents. There has been no parking study to justify the expansion, yet the building and the public area are symbiotic. They must function together. Therefore, I propose the following. Complete the interior renovations immediately so the town staff can move into the building, and then pause all exterior site improvements to allow for a formal parking study and meaningful public engagement. We must create a public space that represents the current and future needs of everyone. I urge you to pause this project and restore the transparency our town deserves. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Mr. Smith? Yes?
George Smith, 215 Village Lane. Related to the town hall site plan and exterior renovations, I'm here to express my distress that substantial concerns raised by community members on the Planning Board and Conservation Board have not been addressed. Concerns raised by the Planning Board and Conservation Board are documented as far back as October 16th, 2024 Planning Board meeting, Text of the full meeting minutes is on the town website, pages 12 to 37, 97, 105 are pertinent to this issue. The current town hall site plan remains largely unchanged from the site layout plan that was discussed on October 16th, 2024. Planning board suggestions for traffic calming, improving pedestrian, bike, and ADA safety and convenience are not incorporated. Likewise, conservation board concerns related to tree removal, increased parking, increased impervious surfaces and runoff, and increased heat island effect have not been addressed. Although I realize that the town is not legally obligated to seek input from the planning board or the conservation board, I'm here as a community member, asking that the town halt further work on this project until it has incorporated community input, including review by its own planning and conservation boards. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Price?
Good evening. I'm Bill Price. I reside at 305 Sylvan Road, immediately adjacent to the Town Hall property. I volunteered on the Architectural Review Board and the Planning Board for 33 years. This project represents a significant departure from the standards this town sets for every other applicant, and from the values embedded in the plans and studies our community funded and adopted, and it contradicts the very proclamations that you just made. It has diminished the role of every volunteer on town boards and committees. The residents of Brighton expect this board to uphold the highest standards of public safety, public engagement, environmental stewardship, and fiscal management. As for this project, those standards have not been met. We have tried to persuade this administration to modify site plans for nearly 2 years. Throughout, the administration has been consistent about one thing: not sharing information with the public. We have submitted Freedom of Information requests asking for site plans to be posted on the town website and all environmental review documents to be made available. Both requests were denied. Bids will be opened on April 30th, 8 days from tonight, on a site plan the public has never officially seen for a project whose environmental review documents the town has refused to release. The town has actively prevented public scrutiny of public project using public funds. Our request is specific. Do not authorize award of a construction contract based on April 30th bids. Before any contract is signed by this board, you must first post all site plans, contract documents, stormwater, and all permits issued by the DEC and Monroe County DOT. Release of all documents responsive to our FOIL request regarding environmental review, and hold a minimum of one public meeting for phases 2 and 3 site plans. This project will be judged on 5 measures: public safety, public engagement, environmental stewardship, fiscal prudence, and consistency of applied standards. The record on all 5 is dismal. Money spent on design does not obligate this board to spend more implementing unjustified improvements. Phase 2 construction has not begun. There is still time to make better decisions. The Town Hall campus is our most
30
used
seconds,
public
Mr.
space,
Price.
and the public has never had a seat at the table. Stop the bid, post the plans, release the secret documents, engage the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to address the board? Is there anyone on Teams that wishes to address the board? I do see a couple members of the public, but they have not unmuted themselves. Let me just give an update on the project, as we have done at many town board meetings and town board committee meetings over the past year and a half. I think it's important that everybody understand the scope of the project, the efforts that have been made, significant efforts that have been made to make the site pedestrian and bicycle friendly in a way that it is not today and would not be if the project and the site improvements were simply halted. And also the fiscal, safety, and other implications of any delay in the project. We've started the project, and underway are the interior improvements, largely interior improvements to the building itself. The project was driven by the need to replace a 70-plus-year-old heating and air conditioning system at Town Hall that was increasingly barely functional and not capable of meeting particularly summertime needs. It was also an opportunity to modernize and make more useful, not only for the community, but for staff and everyone that uses Town Hall, more user-friendly for all of those users. I would note, of course, the location of Town Hall, right in the center of town, close to the 12 Corners, right on Elmwood Avenue. Once upon a time, Elmwood Avenue had a lot better bus service than it does today, but that's a whole nother fight. But that location in the heart of town is an ideal location. It's obviously land that the town owns. So building a new town hall in a different part of town on different land that we might own or might not really didn't make sense. Now, when the town hall was constructed in the early 1950s, asbestos was sort of seen as a wonder material. It served for insulation, for fireproofing, and all sorts of purposes. I'll never forget a meeting with our architect in which we were discussing whether we were going to keep the old windows, the original windows. And our architect, she very nonchalantly mentioned, well, the windows are hot too. And when I picked my jaw up off the floor, I learned that back in those days, window glazing included asbestos. And as a result, the impact of remediating and reusing those windows became a very significant financial burden, and we chose to install new windows with a classic look. We now know, of course, that friable asbestos is a severe carcinogen. And as a result, when buildings containing asbestos are renovated, the asbestos must be removed and or remediated. And in the case of Town Hall, we spent the first 4 months of the project doing, our contractor, our asbestos contractor, doing exactly that, removing asbestos from the building. And as a result of the need to put in all of the infrastructure that goes with a new HVAC system, much of the building was really down to the load-bearing walls. That permitted not only the asbestos remediation, but also the installation, as I mentioned, of that HVAC system, along with a great deal of electrical and other work. Work was done to make sure the building would be more accessible to all users as well. As you drive by, you can certainly see the ramps in the front of the building. Now, we anticipate the building work to be done, interior work to be completed, except for punch list items, by the end of May. And as was mentioned, site work is the next part of the project. Now, as anyone that has walked or ridden their bike or driven through the town hall parking lot and the driveways, you know that the pavement is desperately in need of repair. Those potholes that you, not just at the end of winter when you have the potholes on the main streets, but those potholes are unfortunately a recurring issue there because, in large part, A, the drainage issues on the site, and B, the clay-based soil that exacerbates those drainage issues and is so endemic throughout the town of Brighton. So once the drainage work will be the, first work done as part of the site plan, the site work. And then there will be work to repave and somewhat reconfigure the parking field and the driveways at Town Hall. As part of that reconfiguration, the design incorporated a number of features that makes the parking lot more pedestrian and bicycle-friendly than it is today. 5 new crosswalks are being added. One of them is being added as part of a new speed table in the rear of Town Hall. That will not only serve as a crosswalk, but also a significant traffic calming feature on the largest straightaway, if you will, on the town campus. The driveway and front parking area in front of the public safety wing will also be reconfigured, not only adding a crosswalk, but also converting those oblique angles that are there now that allow traffic to continue at a relatively higher rate of speed in an area that may be the most heavily used by pedestrians, at least Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays when court is in session. Converting both of those angles to 90-degree angles, one of the many traffic calming reconfigurations on the site. But that will also permit both right and left turns out from that exit point, the same way we have on the exit lanes on the library side of the building. One of the challenges of planning this work is that the library, the courts, and the police, in other words, both wings on the sides of our central core, have remained in operation. And so we have to continue to provide parking and other amenities to allow work to continue. That will result in the work being phased throughout the town hall campus to ensure that there is parking and building access available during the work. It's also critical to the site work progress that the first coat of asphalt be laid by the time the asphalt plants close for the winter, approximately November 15th of each year. Delays now in the site work will make it impossible to make the parking lot usable for the entire campus this construction season, which would force the town to seek to extend its lease here at ESU if this building is available, and delay the work to at least 2027. Not only causing that significant delay, but significant additional cost. As was mentioned, the work under this Phase 2 is currently out to bid, and bids will be received next week. Again, this project has been discussed at literally dozens of meetings. And we heard suggestions. Mr. Price has left, but Mr. Price, I met with him. We sent a very extensive reply to the planning board going over, and yes, the planning board does not have jurisdiction over this project, and yet we worked with the planning board, addressed the planning board issues in a very lengthy point-by-point response to 3 communications that we received from them. And yes, some of the Mr. Price drew 3 different rough designs over the years. One of them didn't even have a pool in it. And we knew that wasn't something that the community would find acceptable. But not every suggestion was incorporated. Some were. For example, one resident urged that the library book drop be removed. I did speak with the executive director on multiple occasions. The suggestion is just not correct that I didn't. And Mr. Zvassman, you spoke with the executive director and with the library board. Both the executive director of the library and the library board, to a person, asked that the book drop be retained And the town board chose to do that as we looked at the designs. Why? Removing the book drop would cause disruption. That book drop puts books into the room where they're sorted and sent back out. A different location or a different type of book drop might require library staff to go out to a standalone. You know, we saw a couple of different suggestions of what a book drop might look like, but if we have library staff having to walk out to a standalone book drop, number one, that would be adding itself to the pedestrian traffic. Number two, it would obviously make them go out in all sorts of weather, but approximately 200,000 of the 600,000 books that are returned in a year and other materials are returned through the book drop. And it's the impact of not having that available in the same way. Not everybody lives within walking distance of the library. So we would have people driving to the library, parking their cars, getting out of their cars, putting books or materials in a book drop somewhere else, going back to their cars, having to restart them with the environmental impacts of that. It wouldn't reduce traffic. It would add pedestrians who are not able to use crosswalks. So looking at all of those factors, the town made the decision to continue to use the book drop. There was also a suggestion made to add a new curb cut on Elmwood Avenue on the library side and reverse the traffic flow to a clockwise traffic flow rather than counterclockwise. Again, that would have increased the cost, but it would have also meant that as drivers come through in a clockwise way and drop people off, typically children who are dropped off at the library, those children would now have to cross a lane of traffic to get to the front door of the driveway. Unlike the current configuration where incoming traffic leaves the child off right at the front door of the library without crossing a lane of traffic. Again, for the cost and for the safety reasons, we chose not to make that change, although we have seriously considered what I think is a really interesting proposal by Councilmember Corrado to really make that loop one way. People can continue around through the back of Town Hall, but it would make the loop one way, and I think that might well be a traffic safety improvement. So, phase 3 are the recreational improvements. We know that the pool will be retained, the proposal for a splash pad. Assemblymember Clark has granted the town $500,000 in grant funding for the pool. Senator Cooney has granted $700,000 for a splash pad. The Parks and Recreation Department has been replacing all of our playgrounds throughout town. We would be replacing this playground in the cycle, but its former location was where the wells were drilled for the geothermal project. We will replace that with a new, more accessible playground and a new pavilion. Why not move them to another location? People have asked that question. This is a walkable location. We don't have, I saw some discussion on Facebook today, concern that people want to be able to walk to a playground. I get it. I do too, when my grandchildren come to my house. The other parks that we have are not nearly as pedestrian accessible as the Town Hall campus. So as part of our commitment to a sustainable recreation facility there, as well as the uncertainty about when or where a community center might ultimately be built, as well as the synergy with the library for families, we made the decision that that was the right place for one recreation center. We will be meeting with the public, getting public input on how the splash pad, the pool, the pavilion, and the playground should be configured. that will all be on the website, as I believe the site plan already is on the web page. So I know that's a lot, and I apologize, but I thought it was important to address the overall scope of the project as it now stands. Is there anybody that would like to address the board during the open forum? If someone would like to speak again, they may. Serge, please. Please, yeah, that way the public can hear your remarks.
I think there's some misunderstanding. I asked for the drive-through to go away. Book drop could remain in place. Laura made a great point. How do these people get their books? Do they go into the library? There are ways to bring these books back. That's point one. You're talking about moving the drop-off. Nobody suggested that. Never. The other point, the alternative plan that was proposed that showed moving the curb cut is also misinterpreted, because that suggests that we're calming traffic, allowing people to go and drop off kids on the right side of the car, on the right side of the curb, with allowing other traffic to continue through, minimizing the traffic flow on that one side. Just a misunderstanding, but there's been no opportunity to engage with you or anybody else, with the rest of the public, to discuss this in finer detail. This has been bulldozed through. You have an agenda, and you're not including the rest of the public. This is a public project. This is an important project, and you've treated it as your own home. This is not your home. This is for the public. You need to take another look at this. These board members need to take another look at this, to take a vote. Vote your conscience. This needs to pause. We need to take a look. Everybody needs to be involved. This is an important project. You said it yourself. This is where people walk to. They want a playground, use the library. These are all public services. They need to be included in this conversation. This isn't for 10 years. This is for 30 years. This is too important to not include the public on this conversation. I strongly urge you to vote to pause this project. Vote your conscience. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to address the board during the open forum, either here in person or remotely? Hearing none, then I declare we can move on to the business portion of the meeting. Chris, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Bill, I move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Second? Was that Nate?
Sorry, yeah. As I'm clearing my throat.
Discussion?
May I make a recommendation that
Sure.
we move the resolution number 7 up to the top of the agenda, since we have folks from St. John's and the project?
Thank you. Good. Yes. Thank you very much.
I move that we modify the agenda to that extent, and I accept that amendment.
Nate, thank you. Thank you. No further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. And what I think I'll do, we'll receive and file communications, and then before we do committee reports, we'll do the St. John's Brickstone project. So can I have a motion to receive and file the communications tonight?
I move that we receive and file the communications as noted on the agenda.
Second.
We have 3 items of communication. The first is from Daniel Mackey, the Deputy Commissioner for Historic Preservation and Deputy State Historic Preservation Officer, relating to the possible nomination of the Cobbs Hill Historic District to the National and State Registers of Historic Places. The area noted in the attachment to the communication is largely, if not entirely, it's very hard to tell exactly whether it's all in the city or whether any part of it. It looks like there might be a couple of landlocked lots, some of those back lots on Highland Avenue that the front door is in the city and the very back is in Brighton. But in any event, we are in close proximity to it, so we received notice. The second is from Mr. Rupp, thanking the Brighton police officers, and I know, Chief, thank you for sharing that with me and for sharing our appreciation to the officers involved. And then the third is Mr. Smith's communication about the town hall site plan. We have a motion to receive and file those. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailer?
Aye. And per Councilmember Corrado's suggestion, I'm going to move to one item of new business at this point, and that is to set a public hearing to amend the incentive zoning for, I'm not sure exactly how the formal name, we've called it Brickstone by St. John's here, for the installation of a sign that is larger than currently permitted. Now, can I have a, Christine, can I have a motion to set that public hearing?
Yes. Move that we set a public hearing to amend the incentive zoning for Brickstone by St. John's for the installation of a sign larger than currently permitted for May 13th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Move that we adopt that we set that resolution, oh my goodness, that we set that public hearing as.
In the form prepared by the attorney to the town.
Thank you very much.
Can I have a second?
Second.
I don't know where that train went to.
And I just wrote that down next to the, okay. We do have folks here from St. John's, and we're certainly happy to hear you tonight. You will have another opportunity to do so on May 13th at the public hearing. But if you would like to speak now, we're happy to have you, come up to the podium. We heard your a presentation at our Public Works Committee meeting, so welcome back.
Thank you. I'm Bethany Ramsey with SWBR, Civil Engineering Designer. I'm joined here by Tony of St. John's. I distributed a bunch of the materials at the Public Works Committee last week at some point. It's been a blur of a week. We have updated our site rendering to show that updated sign as well, and I have materials here to distribute if the board would like to see ahead of the public hearing. All right, and I will distribute those now. Perfect, thank you. I've updated just our letter of intent to give a little bit more background on the incentive zoning and what we're actually requesting. But other than that, we don't really have many updates until we have the public hearing.
Thanks.
Thank you. And at the public hearing, assuming that this motion is approved to set a public hearing, we'll ask that these materials, and of course any other materials you bring to the public hearing, be included in the record of that public hearing. Anything else that the applicant would like to say?
Tony Zaccolino, Vice President of Senior Housing for St. John's. Just our purpose behind wanting the sign is to, we are actually opening a self-operating restaurant in the former location of Joey B's. We've hired a great staff of actual hospitality restaurant people to help us run it, and we want to try to help the restaurant be as successful as possible. One of the biggest complaints we've got from our previous tenant, as well as the people of the town of Brighton, is you don't really know there's a public open to the community space there. Brickstone was designed to be new urbanism, bring in the community into our village square, winter garden space. We'd like to use all of our empty retail spaces, which we do have 3 of them, starting with our anchor, which would be the restaurant. We actually, it's no secret, we hired Brandon Wiggins, which is the former owner of Amazing Grains Bakery in Fairport, and original owner in Napa Wood-Fired. He'll be running our restaurant, and we'd have future plans down the road to open, future retail spaces like a bakery. But needing signage in the town of Elmwood Avenue would really help the town know that we're there, and it's not just a senior living community. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. We have a motion on the floor. Any discussion or any questions from members of the town board? And again, understanding that we will have a much more extensive and on-the-record discussion at the public hearing.
You say it's different than what was presented at the Public Works Committee. In what way is it different?
The concept design is the same. The renderings that we had previously submitted, potentially to the Public Works Committee via email, that is different. It has just updated the concept design for the sign itself. So
A little different style, you mean, or same size, though?
the sign, same size. The sign itself within the rendering, if you go to the sheet that has the blue on it, you'll see the concept actually on the left, and then on the right is the updated rendering from Street View.
So it's the rendering is just slightly different?
Correct, yep.
I see.
That was specifically requested at the Public Works Committee, so we decided to update that for this meeting.
Okay, so that's the difference. The sign is the same, though?
Correct.
Now I understand, excuse me.
Then just put your picture in there.
Thank you.
I just want to check the scale of the human is not the supervisor scale, but more in line with Councilmember Werner.
Or Councilmember Corrado. I don't know. And again, we're not on, this isn't the record of the hearing, although we will. But, so there's an existing monument sign. Is that correct? At one of the, there's a Brickstone sign, right, at one of the entrances?
There's an existent monument sign down at the far, right next to the Highland Trail. It's kind of smaller. It's just a brick sign that has Brickstone on it. There's really no place to add any retail locations to it.
Sure.
And it's kind of at the opposite end of where the restaurant is going to be. So this would be a additional sign right in front of the center by our light pole and the sidewalk that comes up from the sidewalk on Elmwood Avenue up into the parking lot, dead center, and it's in the middle of our two entrances. So if you're coming from either direction, you'd have time to see the sign and make your next turn left or right, depending on which direction you're coming from.
So the existing sign is the sign that was anticipated under the incentive zoning?
The existing sign is a sign that was built with the campus originally that had it's just the Brickstone, it just says Brickstone. And was in the incentive zoning in the original agreement of being built, and it has no spots for retail or anything like that.
It's compliant with the original conditions set in that incentive zone.
And kind of why we're asking for this one to be a little bit larger is our biggest complaint from our residents at the campus is the sign is just too low to the ground. You can't really, it's only 3 or I think 4 feet tall off the ground. You really can't see it coming down Elmwood Avenue. So that's why with this sign we're looking to go a little bit larger.
So since you're asking for an additional sign?
Correct, yes, this is an additional sign, a new sign altogether.
I understand, thank you.
And just so everybody understands, it will also, under our sign ordinance, it will be also reviewed by the planning board and the architectural review board as part of the normal sign review process. So, any further discussion among the board? Thank you all for coming in tonight. We have a motion to set that public hearing. If there's no further comments, Dan, please call the roll on that motion.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. We'll see some or all of you on May 13th. Thank you. All right, we'll go back on the agenda, back to committee reports, starting with the Community Services Committee.
All right, Community Services Committee met on April 15th. I assume everybody had their taxes done because we were able to have focus on community services matters during that meeting. Nobody was rushing off to finish them. Highlights from the meeting, Parks Department reported that they're still working arduously to get fields and facilities open for the season. Some challenges with sharing fields with the athletic teams from the Brighton Central School District. They're working those challenges out, high demand from many in the community. And let's see, recreation programs, summer camp registration is underway for Brighton residents. Non-residents can start to sign up on May 12th at 9 a.m. if spaces remain. Short discussion about some of the uncertainty as the Recreation and Parks Department wait for their new space to be ready, but that should be soon. There was a reminder that the Brighton Farmers Market moves to the Golisano Business Institute for summer 2026 as of
This coming
weekend.
Sunday.
Yes,
Yeah.
so this Sunday, across the street from temporary town hall here. We hit on the many, many events that come up in the spring in town. I'll just highlight a couple of them. The most near term are this Saturday, the pharmaceutical take back, thanks to the Brighton Police Department for being the partner in that. Clean out your medicine cabinet, drive through here at 680 Westfall, and drop off all of those leftover expired medications. No sharps, but over-the-counter and prescription medications can be dropped off.
People ask me regularly, can they drop off empty pharmaceutical bottles after they've taken all the pills? And I see the chief nodding yes, so, okay. I thought so, and I know we have in the past, but
Yeah, it's just the sharps.
yeah.
Sharps we can't do.
Obviously, from a privacy perspective, if you want to black out your name, it's probably not a bad idea, but they do get incinerated.
Same day, so you can be extra busy on Saturday morning. The pharmaceutical take back runs from 10 until 2. If you get up early, you can start your day with the Arbor Day community event that was referenced earlier. That begins at 9, runs till 11 at the tree nursery. Sign up on the rec site to participate and dress for the weather, because trees get planted regardless of what the weather's doing, and I haven't seen the forecast, so I have no idea. We'd already noted summer market opens on the 26th. The tree ambassador training that was referenced earlier, there are 2 sessions available on May 2nd and May 9th. More information is on the recreation pages. And then continuing the theme of spring and cleaning out, on May 9th is the much-anticipated document shredding and electronics recycling event. That's at 1941 Elmwood Avenue in the Highway Department parking lot. Runs from 9 until noon. So drive in, drop off, and go do something else wonderful on the 9th. Go to the tree ambassador training. Just to note, pretty much any electronics are accepted now, but when it comes to shredding documents, please be sure it's just personal documents, not business documents. There are services around town that can accommodate your business documents appropriately. And on May 15th, here at Town Hall, we will be celebrating Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Heritage Month at noon. And that evening is the first of the community bike rides, free rides around Brighton. That one will start at Town Park at 6:30. And I want to thank Councilmember Saltzman for supporting one of the remaining 2 rides on July 10th and September 11th. Support for the other ride is from our legislator, Sue Hughes Smith. So we have another successful season coming ahead of us.
And if you do a 4th ride, I'm sure you'll get a sponsor for that, too.
If Reconnect Rochester has the resources available, we are first in line to get an extra ride.
Because those rides are so well attended always.
Yeah, and they prove that you can get around Brighton pretty quickly on 2 wheels, and Nate's going to find out about that because he's got a bike now, right?
I've got a bike that I can borrow now. So we're going to find out if we can still learn how to still ride a bike.
You never forget. You
Like
never
riding
forget.
a bike.
I heard you beat me to it. That's right.
And the last of the big events that I'll highlight right now is the May 16th Clean Sweep event that kicks off at 9 o'clock at a new location. We will be kicking off at the barn at Buckland Park. You can pick up T-shirts, gear, gloves, all the things you need to go up and clean up the neighborhood. We will be focusing on the right-of-way along our commercial corridors, particularly Monroe Avenue. Also, some of our main thoroughfares, including Elmwood and Westfall. But get friends and neighbors together. It's more fun in a group. Sign up on the recreation site once more. And, we'll feed you on your way out, and we'll feed you at the end. So, and thank you to the town staff who've been working hard to support these many events that are coming up. So, and that is all for now. There much more. Oh, you got your newsletter, which lists all of these events. So check your mailbox if you haven't checked recently. I know that some millennials do not check their mailboxes regularly.
have email.
All right, the next meeting is Wednesday, May 20th at 10 a.m. In the Brighton Recreation Center, 1666 Winton Road South.
Thank you, Christine. Finance. Clara.
The Finance and Administrative Services Committee met this past Wednesday, April 15th. A few of the items discussed, renewable vehicle leases for parks and public works departments, a couple of change orders for the town renovation, phase 1 expenses. We also discussed a request to set up a public hearing to purchase a dump truck for the sewer district. Next meeting will be held Wednesday, April 29th at 8:30 in this room.
Thank you. Public safety.
Public safety last met on April 14th. I want to give a shout out to Chief Cathaldi's department for holding I have chicken scratch handwriting now, so now I'm looking it up on my phone. Put away the phones. Is that what my handwriting says? Put away the phones initiative, which found the irony. Yes, the irony. Put away the phones. Which wrote 29 tickets, and so important for the safety of our community driving around to not be on your phone or not be distracted while driving. So another successful initiative from our Brighton Police Department. We also had discussions regarding crosswalks on Highland Avenue, crosswalks on Penfield Road, a stop sign obstruction on Fair Oaks and Glen Ellen Way. I know, Bill, I know your folks went out there to take a look. Is there an update on that one?
They're still working on it.
Okay, still working on it.
Very
No
soon,
problem.
yes.
No problem. I know I surprised you there. But I know that you guys were.
The extender, is that how they're going to?
That or a stop sign ahead, prior
okay.
to it.
But I know that when we brought it up in the meeting, your folks were already on top of it.
Right, yep.
We also discussed rainfall along Allens Creek. Bill also volunteered his folks to just check out to see if there was any obstruction there. And so we had a good discussion about just our waterways through our town. Our next meeting is on May 12th at 0800 hours.
Thank you. Chris.
Thanks, Bill.
Public
We
Works.
had our Public Works Committee meeting on the 14th, just after Public Safety. And we did discuss the Brickstone sign proposal, which we had presented here again today. We also talked about crosswalks and the intersection with Avalon at Westfall, and also a discussion at Forest Hills as well, that traffic studies will be undertaken
Correct, and Evans Lane on Westfall.
And that would be, already we have a crosswalk there.
Correct.
But the question is whether or not there would be the rapid
RFBs.
rectangular flashing beacon.
Correct.
And who would pay for them,
and-
most importantly. Because I
Exactly.
think
Now-
clearly that intersection warrants the RRFBs. It's only a question of whether it meets the county's guidelines on whether they support the cost and the ongoing maintenance, or whether we.
Correct.
And the traffic study conducted by DOT or by our staff?
That'll be Monroe County DOT.
That was my understanding. We had a discussion of the extension of the Brighton Sewer District for MCC for an additional building, I believe, that's going up, that would be included in the sewer district. We talked about the open houses that were presented by the New York State Department of Transportation. We're awaiting formal feedback from the DOT on the bridge project and Monroe Avenue, and also the Route 15 corridor safety enhancement. That was well attended as well. And the one issue that was common with many of the comments was a protected Dutch-style bike lane along Route 15, and Reconnect Rochester will help out to some extent, promoting the bike lanes in general there and whether or not a protected bike lane would be feasible. We had a discussion of the permit fee schedule update for the various building and other permits within the town to bring those in line with other towns and also to cover our own costs associated with those. We had an update on RG&E projects, which are largely wrapped up. We also discussed, again, the Bel Air neighborhood street lighting, where they have Cobra-style lights instead of the harp-style lamp, and would take a look at the cost of replacing the Cobra head lights, the actual head itself, but also take a look at what it would cost to replace them entirely. RG&E has indicated that they would look at replacing the heads themselves, but in any event, those costs would be passed along to the lighting district. But we're going to take a look at what kind of cost might be involved overall. The Homemakers Monument wall rehabilitation bid package is being concluded. And prior to soliciting bids, we're going to have a meeting with the neighborhood there because, again, that neighborhood district does fund those monument improvements.
And I think we may have that set up for an evening next week, am I right? The 29th, maybe? '27th, 29th, I think, maybe. Maybe it's the 27th.
I expect one particular resident will be in attendance.
I certainly hope to.
Of the district.
Okay. But I know we've got something set up with the neighborhood next week.
That's great. There was an update on the various sidewalk projects that are going to be undertaken both this year and next, and those include the Jewish senior life incentive zoning sidewalks that are part of their amenity package, which will be along Winton Avenue and connect up the sidewalks out onto Westfall as well. Also, we've got our the New York State Department of Transportation CBDG sidewalks on Critton Avenue will take the place of what the town was considering funding, and that funding would then be returned because the DOT is going to put those sidewalks in themselves. DPW is also working with LaBella Associates to design the Monroe County 50/50 grant sidewalks, which will be undertaken in part this year and next year. And also for 2026, DPW is working to have sidewalks constructed along Edgewood, Monroe, Clover, and Westfall. We've got quite a number of sidewalks in our sites. What's the total length of those, Bill? Whichever Bill.
Well, at one point it was about 1.6 miles, but we're also looking at a couple of other potential additions even for a third application.
Yes. And so the idea is both extending sidewalks that we have, but also connecting, and there's some smaller gaps here and there that will improve that whole network. We discussed the Town Park solar installation project, solar energy installation, and we're awaiting approval from RG&E to finalize the interconnection of those solar panels. The Rec and Parks office alterations are nearing completion there at the TUNY campus, and once the C of O is granted, it may take a few weeks to certify the space for recreation and park use. The town hall renovation update was discussed as well, and we discussed it at length earlier in the meeting tonight. Our next committee meeting will be May 12th at 9:00 a.m., and the public is invited.
Thank you, Chris. We have no old business, new business, reading and approval of claims. Clara?
Earlier today, I reviewed the claims totaling $11,907,499.34. Of note is the payment for the serial bonds of 2018 and 2025. The 2025 is a town hall renovation. Bond anticipation note is being paid with a new issuance of another bond anticipation note, which also includes new money for Phase 2, as well as this Home Acres Monument project. And it's expected that shortly it will be refinanced with a bond series. Let's see, another notable claim includes construction equipment. It's a mini excavator for the sewer department, and that's approximately $82,000. All the claims appear to be in order, so I move for them to be approved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Clara, why don't you do the next one as well?
The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to approve change orders with Milestone Construction Partners for the Town Hall renovation project in an amount not to exceed $1,588. I move that the motion is approved based on the resolution prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Glenn, was there any progress? We talked at the Public Works Committee or the Finance Committee, one of those, I think it was Finance, about the crown molding in the supervisor's office. They replaced the existing crown molding with a much wider crown molding that caused a conflict with an existing pipe.
It was one of the return vents.
Yes. And it's not a lot of money, but, I mean, has there been any acknowledgement on their part of that?
I have not had a chance to talk with INEX about that. I did speak with Everett Garcia, the clerk of the works, where he indicated that the crown molding that was approved as part of the submittals was wider, which is causing the impact to the return vent. So alternatively, it's the small price to move the return vent or notch out the crown molding that was installed.
I mean, in a perfect world, it's very attractive crown molding, but, it's up to the board. I mean, whether we approve this or, I don't know what, this is a small change order, whether we want to hold on it and see whether they're willing to make a concession.
Has it been discussed with the contractor as yet, or no?
The contractors are the ones that are, they're moving forward with what the submittals that were approved by the architect who designed that. I guess the hiccup here with this is when it was approved, the architect didn't realize that I don't want to put them on the spot. I don't want to place blame on the architect at this point, but there should have been an understanding that the width of the crown molding would have encroached onto the return.
Yep.
Well, my inclination is that at least the question be posed to them to get their reaction. If they feel that it's something that should be borne by the owner of the building, then we can hear that argument. But I would think we'd want to at least have the issue addressed.
I mean, it is a small amount of money. It is a few hundred.
$1,580.
Oh, it's less than that. That's the total of several.
For all the.
This is, I think, about $400. So it is
360
not a lot of money.
Yeah, $361 plus 10%. So about $397.
It's my misunderstanding
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, there are a couple,
$1,500
there are a
is real
couple.
money where I come from. but
There are.
400.
Yeah, there are multiple items of work that are incorporated in this change order. You know, I leave that up to,
If it's $361, I withdraw my comment.
so we have a motion.
We could also approve this, and then Glenn could still go back and try to negotiate.
We could.
And if things, you know, are our responsibility, he has the authority to go ahead.
And if, as far as the negotiation goes, the negotiation would probably at this point be between us and the architect. to see
Correct.
If we can get a credit from the architect.
That's exactly right.
For the design flow.
Yeah.
Sure. I think it makes sense to approve, and that with, you know, Glenn has the authority to
Yep.
spend.
I,
if things go well.
yeah, I mean, we discussed that in finance, and I think it ought to be posed to them. And I'm sorry, who seconded that motion?
I did.
Christine?
I thought so, okay. Is there any further discussion on that? Hearing none, then Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. And Clara, why don't you do the second change order?
The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to approve change orders with Milestone Construction Partners for the Town Hall renovation project in an amount not to exceed $1,939. I move that we approve this resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Another set of small change orders that we did not have any issue with in the Finance Committee meeting. Any discussion? Anything?
Now, this is for the AED.
Right.
For the library, that we're standardizing the AEDs throughout the complex. So where they're all the same batteries, same parts, same training for people to use it. Just one additional AED for the site.
If there's nothing further, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye, and we got one more finance one, so I'll leave that with you too, Clara.
Yeah, the next matter seeks to authorize the creation of a capital budget for the Homemakers Monuments Project in the amount of $250,000. I move that we approve the resolution as prepared by the attorney for the town.
Second.
And in her report earlier, Clara referenced the fact that this, the bond anticipation notes are included in the bond anticipation notes issued earlier. Was that this month or last month? Recently. Or this month, earlier this month, I think, at a very attractive 2.4 something interest rate. And this is a capital budget establishment just to track with that bond for a capital project. With motion seconded, further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. Christine, do you want to do the next one?
Sure. The next matter seeks to have the town board accept a donation to the Recreation Department from Councilmember Corrado, myself, in the amount of $300, and to amend the budget to reflect said revenue. And that $300 is in support of the May 15th Reconnect Rochester bike ride through town. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
And thank you for making that donation. If the money was going the other way, we couldn't have you make that motion. But since you're making the donation, it's all good. Discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. Chris?
Bill, the next item is to authorize the supervisor to enter into a license agreement with the Golisano Institute for Business and Entrepreneurship for the Summer Farmers Market. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
We really appreciate the opportunity to again partner with Golisano. We'll be we've been trying to say it a lot, get the word out, but the Summer Farmers Market this year will not be at Brighton High School because of the ongoing construction there. It will be right here across the street at the Golisano Institute for Business and Entrepreneurship. It's the corner of Sawgrass Drive and Westfall Road. And it will have all of the usual, we will have the full roster of our great market vendors. We'll have a couple of food trucks, and we'll have music. So all of the same, really amenities, community fun as at the high school location. And this is tough. We know change is hard, and change, this is not as central a location. There really were no good central locations with a large enough parking field to host both the market and all the cars that come to the market. So we appreciate Golisano's partnership, and we hope to see everybody there this Sunday morning. We have a motion. It's been seconded. Any further discussion?
Just to note, I know that folks many people are sad that they won't be able to walk or bike to the location, but I can assure you that if you come on the May 15th bike ride, you will find out how easy it is to bike to the new farmers market location. And it is connected, in all seriousness, it's connected by the Canal Trail, connects to the town, to Town Park, and there's great access from the Highland Crossing Trail. So we can spread our bicycling wings a little wider. I don't know.
Works for me.
Yeah. So here we are.
Further discussion?
Better than the alternative, not having it at all.
Much better. Yes. Thank you. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. Nate?
The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to enter into 2 lease agreements with Enterprise Fleet Management for lease of a 2026 Ford F-250 vehicle with plow for the Parks Department in an amount not to exceed $16,000, and for a 2026 Ford Explorer vehicle for the Department of Public Works in an amount not to exceed $13,500. I move we approve this resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
This is, both of these are 48-month leases under our ongoing Enterprise Fleet Management
I should
lease program.
add the amount as an annual amount. The amounts listed are annual.
Correct. Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. It, I think, says so in the resolution, but to be clear, yes, those are annual amounts. Further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. Nate, why don't you skip over the incentive zoning one and go to the Stark Tech?
You got it. The next matter seeks to authorize increasing the cost of an agreement with Stark Tech Operating Company for services to modernize the existing Schneider Electric Direct Digital Control Systems for the library and public safety wings of the Town Hall complex from $158,641.82 to $163,297, and authorize the supervisor to execute any necessary change orders that do not exceed $16,329.70 in the aggregate. I move that we approve this motion as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
As noted, this is an amendment to a resolution that the town board approved late in the year 2025. Some cost, we approved the contract, but we have not yet installed the system. So rather than making it a change order, we thought we'd just authorize a new agreement, because that agreement had a pricing that was good for 90 days. This is some of the high-tech building management elements, and if I say anything more, I will prove that I only know enough to be dangerous. So Glenn, any more you'd like to say about
Yeah, this is just for the smart HVAC controls. Basically, the building automation system is the brain that makes sure is the climate control for the building. This is upgrading it so the police and the courts, as well as the library, have have reliable heating and air conditioning for their space. This change specifically is due to an increase in the prevailing wages for those
Electricians?
the electricians who are doing the work. Monroe County had a recent wage grade increase on April 1st, and so that's where this amount of money, the increase came from.
Thank you.
And we're anticipating, based upon timeframes where they're able to get in and do the work, and having Concord, who's doing some of the IT wiring, it'll be in the late May, June timeframe when they'll be able to start doing that work.
Good. And I think probably at our next meeting, we will bring back that other, the small one-off Start Tech item,
Yeah, for the, what was that?
the library,
Yeah, the AI controls. Yeah.
the control.
Yeah, there's like one controller specific to the library, where the programming of that is proprietary with StarkTech, tying into our building automation system. The control itself can be purchased through other means, but it makes sense to use the person who's going to be doing the programming to install it, program it as one shot, as opposed to having to involve 2 or 3 different vendors to do the work.
That's the one we discussed at Finance Committee, and so we'll bring that back next time. We have a motion. It's been seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. And the last item of new business, Chris.
Bill, this last item is to amend the non-represented employee salary and wage schedule. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
You have the memo from our HR Director, Tricia Van Putty. This will move that building inspector position from Group 7 to Group 8. It will involve a slight increase in cost. And do you all have copies of that resolution?
Yes.
Okay, good. Wanted to make sure, because I got a couple here. Discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. Matters of the supervisor, we'll start with the first quarter report presented by Earl Johnson, our finance director. Earl.
So each quarter, we like to review our financial situation, and so this is, it says 2026 town budget. It's really more of a budget versus actual report, but we always start out with a slide that reviews the adopted and approved budget for this year. For our main town funds, the general fund, highway fund, and library fund, the total budget is roughly $35 million. And that the amount of revenues not tax related are roughly 46%, so almost 50% of the budget is for revenues and appropriated fund balance, and the other half, or slightly above, is raised in taxes. The fund balance we appropriate, again, is about 7%, a little over 7% for this year, and like last year, we hope that we do not have to use the appropriated fund balance, but we do have a healthy fund balance and expect to be using some of that going forward. Next meeting, our auditors will be here to present our 2025 results. And I guess the spoiler alert is that we did not use any appropriated fund balance is in 2025. In other words, we had surpluses in all of our main funds. This screen here is really our budget versus actual comparisons and what we like to do. We know 2025 was a successful year financially. So we look at our 26 expenditures and revenues after 3 months and compare them to our budget for the year. And the percentages for 2026 are, on the revenue side, are very much in line with last year, so we don't see anything unusual or alarming. As you would expect, almost all of our property tax revenue has been collected so far at about 99%. Same with our pilot funds. Our use of money is higher than we expected so far this year because interest rates have stayed higher than maybe projected last year. So that is a positive. Department income and other revenue are a little bit lower. A lot of, especially other revenue, are timing issues. So our total revenues after 90 days are at about 64%, which is a little bit under last year, and we may not be quite the experience of 2025, but we are, not too far different from our experience last year in the first 90 days. And on the expenditure side, our total expenditures are actually only 22.5% of budget versus 23% last year. So our expenses are under control so far early this year. And just a couple things to note, there have only been 6 pay periods through the first 90 days, so that's partially why our wage percentage is so low and is virtually the same as last year. And then overtime is a little bit high. Actually, I expected this maybe to be higher because of the winter weather we've had. So we have spent a lot of our overtime budget so far, and a lot of that is related to winter. I don't think there's anything else of note here. Utilities are a little bit higher, and I guess that's one recent development with world events is that we expect our utility and other similar costs to be higher this year than last year. Already we're starting to look ahead to next year budgeting, and I think the things that keep me up at night are inflation. We know that inflation has been coming down in many areas, but recently ticked up again. The issue with the town finances are that we're very sensitive to the inflation related to health insurance and the New York State retirement contribution, which is unique to us. And we'll talk a little bit about more about that in a second. We also have had higher costs due to this year's winter weather, and again, we're going to experience higher gas and utility prices this year. So inflation is a very real issue for us as we move forward. It has not really changed that much as far as we are concerned. This gives us a little history of our health insurance premiums, and you can see that back in 21, 22, 23, they were kind of reasonable historical percentages, and then since then they've been double digit, and it's also cumulative each year, so it gets harder and harder to budget these increases. If we have another 15% increase this year, that equates to about $675,000, which is a big number for us. So we hope to see this come down, and we don't unfortunately know those numbers until the end of September. And of course, the New York State retirement is a similar picture. If we had another 15% increase this year, that would be about $500,000. And this number goes up because our salary wages go up a little bit each year, and then also New York State raises the contribution rates each year as well. So those are the two biggest areas of concern moving forward.
And Earl, if I can just stop you there, because I think each one of those slides that you just showed are very important, not just because of the magnitude of the increase, but by some external factors. The health insurance premium, it's high, although it's less than what a lot of the community-related programs would involve, because we are part of the New York Municipal Insurance, I'm sorry, wrong insurance plan. FLMHIT, the Finger Lakes Municipal Health Insurance Trust, which is a consortium of municipalities, mostly in Monroe and Ontario County, managed by the Brown and Brown brokers. And they have been able, those numbers are scary, and you know, they really whack our ability to keep our budget in line, but they are better than the market rates, and we do have, you know, day-to-day involvement in the development of that plan. So that's one point. This chart up here, there's another external factor that I think it's really important everybody understand, and that is today, you know, the retirement system has tiers 1 through 6. There are very, very few Tier 1 employees still living and working in municipalities. Most of the you know, Tiers 4, 5, and 6 cover almost everybody working in municipal government. And today, Tier 6 statewide includes more than half of all state and municipal employees. Over the past couple years, there have been efforts made to sweeten the pot, if you will, for Tier 6. And Tier 6 was established in 2012 as a way to address what were then spiraling retirement system costs. What is being suggested today is basically rolling back to something that would be very close to Tier 5. And everybody focuses, I think our representatives in Albany even may focus on state employees. But that rollback will also affect state school district. There's been talk about, you know, the impact on teachers and hiring teachers. But local government, this will have a significant impact on the town of Brighton budget if A, Tier 6 does get rolled back, and B, the state doesn't pick up the local government share. So all three of the municipal statewide organizations, the New York State Association of Towns, our association, but also NICOM, the Conference of Mayors, and the counties, all three of those organizations issued a joint statement last week calling on the state to pick up any incremental cost. It's the state rolling it back. It's another one of those unfunded mandates. They're calling on the state, and they're taking the position that under New York State law, the state has to pick up that cost. So we'll see. I don't know if that's a prelude to some kind of litigation or whether it gets worked out as, you know, this is one of the sticking points in getting the budget completed. But that change will have a significant impact, probably a couple $100,000 each year on the town if it gets rolled back. So more to follow on that. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I thought those were two really important points.
That's very helpful, and I know that New York State is also one of the best funded pension plans, and
Yes.
and Controller Napoli is very determined to keep it as such, so that plays into the equation. That's a good thing for our retirees and workers, but it does have an impact as well.
It means our contributions are relatively high, yes.
So, 90 days is not a very long time, but there are no unusual trends at this point or anything to really point out as far as our 26 budget is concerned. Trends are pretty consistent with last year. We do expect expenses to be higher at the end of the year than in 25, and our results maybe not be quite as good as 25, but we continue to work hard to control expenses and come in as close to break even as possible. And just for another number out there, for the benefit costs overall, in the past 3 years, they've increased from 6.4 million to 8.25 million. So it's a big increase, and that, of course, includes both the health insurance and the New York State retirement contribution.
And of course, during that 3-year period, we had the exceptionally high increase in retiree health insurance premiums because of the
federal changes.
Correct.
Changes at the federal level.
Yeah.
So I think that's it, unless there are any questions.
Thanks for that summary, Earl. Any questions? Thank you. Okay. I talked long enough earlier, but one other thing that I want to just mention, a couple cyber-related matters. We have been working with Civic Plus, the company that does our webpage, because until literally until yesterday, we were operating municipalities larger than 50,000, that's not us, had a deadline of, I can't remember if it was April 15th, but it was this month, to meet new ADA website requirements. Smaller municipalities had 1 more year, so we were looking at April of 2027 as our deadline for making those new accessibility regulations applicable to our webpage. There was just a rulemaking that came out, this is a federal rule, and rulemaking that came out just yesterday extending both of those periods for a year. Because we're already underway working with our Civic Plus, our website provider, and because accessibility to all people, witness our ASL interpreters, but making sure our website is fully accessible to everyone in all respects. We're going to continue moving forward with that project with Civic Plus to make sure we are compliant just as soon as possible as we can be with those new regulations, even though they probably won't go into effect now until 2028. And the other thing we're doing, we are in the process of doing an AI policy. As obviously AI is so much in the news and so much going on, we are benchmarking against other governmental entities. And by the way, there aren't many. It's hard to find governmental entities that have actually adopted AI policies. We just got one from Senator Skoufis, Senator, New York State Senator, representing a district down in the Hudson Valley. His office just promulgated their policy, but it's something we're working on. It's something we'll be getting guidance from, again, from the Association of Towns. But given all the, yes, potential pluses, but also potential concerns, we're really going to be looking very closely at how we use AI and particularly what data is allowed to be entered into these AI systems, because, what you don't want to have happen is personal identifying information, PII, to get out there publicly. So that's one of the things we're focused on. We're working with our IT director, Dan, Tricia, our personnel director, and myself, working on putting that AI policy together. So more to follow on that. Nothing more. Matters of the attorney.
No report tonight, Supervisor.
Thank you. Matters of our favorite municipal clerk.
Nothing this evening.
Matters of the board. Then can I have a motion to adjourn?
I do want to
Oh, sure.
publicly thank Bill's highway crew. I was out and about today and saw them patching up some of the bumpiest, roughest spots throughout town, and they were like a well-orchestrated machine out there taking care of that. I went past at one point, they were patching away, and by the time I came back the next time, it was smooth as glass. So, well done.
Thank you. They have their work cut out for them.
And also, I want to thank you, Bill, for really attempting as well to communicate with our residents about that. We're hearing a lot about it. A lot of it, most of it's state roads. We've particularly Monroe Avenue, and I know the state DOT, and as I talked about at the last meeting, Senator Cooney really put the screws to the state DOT folks. But yes, it's real asphalt now, right? You're not working with cold patch?
Correct.
So it should have some staying power. Thank you. Anything else? Now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Bill, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Tie.
I heard Christine. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Thank you again to our ASL interpreters. We appreciate your work and your consistent efforts to, as we're trying to do, be accessible as we can. Our next meeting will be right here in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. We got a fifth Wednesday this month. So May 13th, 7 o'clock here at ESU 680 Westfall Road. Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you for participating.